our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are dedicating our episode to the current visit by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Serbia, Belgrade. Our dear viewer, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrived in the Serbian capital Belgrade on Tuesday. He was received by the Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. It was the first formal visit by the Egyptian leader to Serbia in nearly 5 decades. The two countries share a long history of strong relations since the beginning of the 20th century. The president started the official visit to the Balkan country, where he met with the Serbian president. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassem Radi said that the two leaders reviewed the means to foster relations in various domains, in addition to a number of regional and international issues of common concern. Meanwhile, the Serbian fighter jets escorted the president's aircraft upon entering the Serbian airspace until landing at Belgrade airport. During his visit, the president is scheduled to meet with the Serbian parliament speaker. Following their meeting, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Serbian counterpart on Wednesday held joint press conference. The president reiterated that the talks tackled means of enhancing bilateral relations for better horizons and expressed appreciation to the Serbian leadership and people expressing desire to develop the joint cooperation in all domains in light of the historical ties binding the two countries. The head of state also said that the meeting discussed means of pushing forward coordination and consultation over a number of regional and international files. For his part, the Serbian president welcomed President Sisi, stressing the significance of his visit to Serbia, and said that his country is looking forward to bolster bilateral ties in all fields during the coming period. More details about the president's visit to Serbia in the following story.
Serbian fighters were seen escorting President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's plane as soon as it entered Serbia's airspace on Tuesday. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić welcomed President al-Sisi at Belgrade airport. The president is visiting Serbia to hold intensive talks with the Serbian president, in addition to the country's parliament speaker, during which they will discuss means of bolstering political and economic relations between both countries. The talks also touch on ways to maintain joint coordination at the regional and international levels. The president is scheduled to deliver a speech at the University of Belgrade on relations between the two friendly countries. Egypt's ambassador to Serbia, Bassem Salah, said President al-Sisi's visit to Belgrade is the first by an Egyptian president in 35 years. In press remarks, Salah said that the Serbian side attached great and special importance to the visit, as it represents a launch for growing cooperation between the two countries in all fields during the coming period. President al-Sisi's visit will also include holding a forum for businessmen in Egypt and Serbia, with the attendance of a large number of investors from both sides, to discuss boosting trade between the two countries and implementing joint projects.
To shed more light on the president's visit to Serbia, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you, sir. Ambassador Bayoumi.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is visiting Serbia for the first official visit by an Egyptian president to the country in 35 years. What are your thoughts on this?
Very good occasion, because in my generation we have witnessed the good cooperation between Gamal Abdel Nasser and the president of Yugoslavia, Tito, and in India, Jawaharlal Nehru. And there was what we call the tripartite agreement between the three countries in order to open the border for all their exports to each other. And that was the time was also the movement of the non-aligned countries, which is still going on, 139 countries around this group. So it is quite clear that we are trying to revive this situation to gain again our presence in the market in the old Yugoslavia, which was divided in 5 countries now, and we keep good relations with Serbia and Belgrade. This is a very good step. Add to this what we did with Romania, with Bulgaria, with Hungary, with all the Eastern European countries, where we have a traditional presence in all these countries, and we used to exchange trade and economic cooperation with these countries. So it is a very good step forward for the Egyptian foreign relations.
Ambassador Bayoumi, what is so special actually about this visit, and what are the shared views between Cairo and Belgrade, and what are the topics discussed to top the present agenda?
Of course, we have many circles there. We have the international level where we discuss our international worries, such as the war in Ukraine, what's happening in the East Mediterranean gas discoveries, what is happening with the corona, so, and also how we are fighting the organized crime, whether it is terrorism or illegal migration or drug trafficking. On the regional level, of course, we hear from the Serbian side what is going on in the Balkan area, between the relation between all these countries, where they were in a fight between themselves in some years ago. Also, I think we shall explain to them what's happening in Syria, the threat to the Syrian territory from Turkey, the threat in Libya, what's happening in Lebanon, what's happening in Yemen also. And of course, we shall discuss on the bilateral level the relation directly between Egypt and Serbia, that we want to restore this market, whether to export or import from it, and now to explore the good opportunities for more and more investment for the sake of the two economies and for the sake of our new generation, which is seeking good jobs and better life in the coming future.
Yes, indeed. Sir, relations between Egypt and Serbia strengthened following the establishment of the non-aligned movement, and both countries have ever since developed strong relations. Would you please shed light on the history of the Egyptian-Serbian ties since then?
In my generation, we remember the good close relations between our President Gamal Abdel Nasser and far to the east with Sukarno, far to the west with Yugoslavia, down to the south with India, and even with Nigeria and the countries of South Africa, with the Arab world. And so this is one of the strongest groups in our political life. And it is still, thank God, still going on, parallel with the developing countries, which was well known as the Group 77. Now it is more than 130 countries. When we go to the United Nations and asking for a vote, those big block of countries are voting with us all the time automatically, and this is a big deal for our foreign relations. Still, yes. Egypt, and much more, now more than before, is the largest capital in the world hosting foreign embassies. Of course, this is a good success to our foreign policy, and Egypt is quite well as a very active country for serving the peace, stability, and the development of the world.
Yes. Sir, also the President discussed in Belgrade advancing politics and economic relations in many areas. What are the shared views between both countries regarding the regional issues? And what were the most important points highlighted by both leaders in their joint press conference, which was held earlier today?
I think it is good to open the old files to see what we were doing in order to build on what we are doing, because now we are in the time of the information technology, which was not already established during that time. Now we have the history of the industrial cooperation between Egypt and Yugoslavia, especially in the industry of agriculture tractors and many other industries, also in the car industry. Now we have a lot to be done in new areas where we can imagine where are the chances, and also we have to discuss in these meetings the challenges in order to make the presidents take care to solve any obstacle for more and more investment and more economic relations. And really we are gaining a lot from this effort, and we have to continue. I am happy that some ministers are with the president in order to follow up what these negotiations would come with new ideas. Then the executive level of the ministerial level shall continue implementing whatever we shall agree upon.
Yes. Mr. Ambassador, also both leaders witnessed the signing of a memoranda of understanding in many fields of higher education, agriculture, art and media. How do you see these memoranda of understanding signed between the two countries in many fields?
It is very important because it puts the borderline and the items on our agenda where we can go. So if our ministers need to have a look on what the presidential level is seeking, then we have this agenda defining what should we do. Of course, there is a flexibility to add something whenever there are new ideas. And of course, this will be our agenda and a new program for the cooperation between Egypt and Serbia, between Egypt and any European country also in the coming future.
Finally, Ambassador Bayoumi, President Sisi held talks with his Serbian counterpart and is expected to deliver a speech at the Serbian University and hold talks with senior Serbian officials, as well as a meeting with the head of the Serbian parliament. How do you see the significance of all these meetings and activities by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah Sisi in Serbia?
It is very important that now we establish a direct relation between the parliaments. And we have a very active parliament in our country, thank God. So we are in good connection with the European Parliament and with the parliaments of every individual country in Europe. This makes those who are drafting laws knows immediately what are the priorities, and they support it whenever we are in need to create or establish new laws. So the parliamentary direct relation is very important. I give the example of the European Parliament, where we have very direct and very important relations in order to make them realize what we are doing, to help us to exchange views and to implement whatever we agreed upon.
Indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, always a pleasure to listen to your very precious input, sir. Thank you very much for being our guest today. Our dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of this edition of our program. Hope you have enjoyed it. Until tomorrow with another cruise. Goodbye. Many thanks for watching.